Good afternoon, everyone, or evening. A very warm welcome to CDL's Women for Green event, celebrating International Women's Day 2026, featuring Susan Chong, a pioneering entrepreneur with sustainability DNA. My name is Marilyn, and I'm from the CDL Sustainability team. For everyone's safety, please take note of the fire exits and staircases located on the map and follow staff instructions calmly in the event of an emergency. And if you have time, maybe not today because it's raining, but another time, please check out the CDL microforest at level 1 of this mall. Unveiled last March by President Tharman alongside another circularity initiative, the CDL Eco Train, it serves as a living lab studying how microforests can cool our city through cooling by greening and also boost ecological resilience. Just like the CDL microforest demonstrates the impact of small, powerful actions on our environment, this year's International Women's Day theme, Give to Gain, reminds us that meaningful change happens when we share our ideas, support, and platforms. When we give, we strengthen not just individuals, but also entire communities. And this is especially true in sustainability and food resilience. Singapore currently imports more than 90% of our food, making food security a vital national concern. In response, the government has refreshed its national food strategy, moving away from the earlier 30 by 30 aspiration and introducing new production targets for 2035. 20% of local consumption of fibre and 30% of local consumption of protein. Today, we're very honored to have with us someone whose work contributes directly to these goals. Ms. Susan Chong, founder and CEO of Greenphyto, is driving sustainable urban farming solutions that help grow fresh produce locally in land-scarce Singapore. Susan is the driving force behind the world's tallest vertical farm, a 23.3 meter AI-enabled agricultural breakthrough capable of producing 2,000 tons of leafy greens every year. With yields up to 45 times higher than traditional farming, her innovation is helping to power Singapore's new food security targets. Susan's story truly reflects the spirit of give to gain, using innovation and purpose to create impact beyond herself for the wider community. And today she has also kindly given us some fresh veg, which are all laid out behind you. So make sure to grab a couple before you leave. To continue the conversation, it is my pleasure to invite someone who has been at the forefront of driving sustainability in the built environment and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Esther An, Chief Sustainability Officer of CDL.
Hello, all friends. I can see a lot of lovely familiar faces as my green sister and brothers. Yeah, and we are here to celebrate the International Women's Day. And for those who, I think there are actually some first-timer, but most of you are regular here. So about Singapore Sustainability Academy, or we call it SSA, or our second home. Some of you may probably know that it is a net zero building powered by only solar energy. And you can see the real-time tracker there. The green bar on top is actually what we generate every day, and since beginning of the year. And the blue bar is what we consumed. And whatever, all the solar energy is actually packed with our City Square Mall grid. So we tap from there. Like what you see here at night, there's no solar energy, so we have to tap from the grid. But all in all, we actually maintain it net zero because we use about 60,000. We generate about 60,000 kilowatt per hours a year, but we only use about 50,000 over. So we have some excess as well. And this was opened in 2017, and the demand for rent-free space for advocacies and training was so high that we have to build another one. We call it SSA Annex across the corridor here. And we have two very good NGO partner, SEAS, Sustainable Energy Association, behind the curtain, their office space, and also a free classroom that we gave them rent-free. The other one is actually Global Compact Network Singapore. The boss is here. Yeah, so they connect people. UN Global Compact Network Singapore bring people together, private sector especially, and we promote Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals, 169 targets, climate action included. And this space really bring people together. Since 2017, we hosted 1,500 over events and classes and all, and then 56 over 1,000, still counting, walked through this door for for the last few years. So we are really, really proud of bringing people together, being a network. And every year we celebrate International Women's Day, and because this is the headquarters of Women for Green Network that we started in 2017. And last year we featured my dear speaker there, Sao Hoon, who's also a mature startup, we call it. We have a lot of startup innovator, all the young one, but don't forget, Singapore is aging very fast, and we have a lot of mature startup innovator who can bring their life experience and also their skill sets to continue to contribute to climate, planet, and people. And today, I'm not the speaker. I'm here to feature my dear friend that I'm a big fan of her, Susan, and we knew each other for almost 2 decades. At that time, she was known as the Taugay for Greenpack, which is the first innovators and one-woman show, right, to start green packaging. So afterwards, we will cover this as well, and you can see that she really believed in sustainability from day one until now. So without further ado, I would like to start this. We don't call it fireside chat, already hot enough. This is our green chat. Come, let's start the chat. Thank you. Please take a seat, Susan. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Hello. Thanks for coming, and I hope I can share something meaningful. Yeah. Probably I don't need mic.
No, I think it's better. We have recording.
Yeah.
I think use mic because we are recording.
Sure.
Yeah. So first, thank you, Susan, for braving the rain to come here and from your very busy schedule. And like I said, actually, I knew Susan as really must have born with this DNA in her, is about everything about green. So so what happened is maybe you can come a little bit closer so we can have you framed.
Okay.
It's recorded as well, so we can show it. We actually post it on our website so that more people can enjoy the conversation and learn and inspired, from your story. So maybe Susan, can you tell us that really is that a calling, that Susan, please do green packaging, and then now it's green farming and all that. So how do you find inspiration, and what is that drive in you that you keep innovating and keep doing things that it is sustainable?
I think maybe I just give you a little background about myself and how do I actually get into packaging. So I was actually born in Malaysia, and I got imported about 34 years ago, headhunted by my husband. And I always say, that is the best contribution that he has made for Singapore. So, and so I used to work in pharmaceutical, I worked in hotels before, I worked for Pfizer, and then I came over to Singapore, so I decided to help with his family business, which is in packaging. So as I travel around the world, that was 26, 27 years ago, right? No one talks about sustainable, no one talks about environmentally friendly. But as I was traveled, I heard people start, in overseas, people talk about generating a lot of packaging waste and all that. So when I was helping his business for a while, I thought I got a little bit bored. I says, why not? Let me do something different and something meaningful. And so I started Greenpack in 2002. That is about 24 years ago. After being working with him for a while, and it's sometimes very hard to work with your families and your in-laws, and so I decided that to come out, and so I actually started Green. Very much, I would want to be very honest. It's not because of green or sustainable person I am, but I thought that is a business opportunity in the packaging space because packaging generate a lot of waste, and packaging has never been viewed 20 over years ago as a professional job. Why? Because in Singapore, at that time, the products are a lot cheaper, a lot of white goods and all that. Packaging is not important. If you export a hair dryer, if it's damaged along the shipping, just replace, right? Nothing critical. But, and also with the idea that doing green, so I thought, okay, I wanted to do sustainable, so I registered the company. I want to do something green, and I can go out and tell everybody I do green packaging. And when you go to talk to customer, everybody look at you. y'all can guess what is the first question, right? How much it costs. Because that's what everybody cares, right? And then I have to come back and rethink. Then how do I do it, right? So as I learn, and so I realized that because we are in a very commercial world, even many, many years into the packaging business, a lot of multinational, they spend millions of dollars doing campaign on green, but anything that 5 cents more into the productions, they are not quite willing, right? So I have to keep innovate and came up with the solutions that anything that we do has to be lean and green and translate to cost saving. And that was how we grew the business, right? Because maybe some of you may not be familiar in the packaging, carton boxes, wooden crates. What's so unique about those produce? And many people talk about being green means use less wood and more paper. Have you heard of some of this? And then I was like, so where does paper come from, right? And then if you're going to pack a big equipment, what are you going to do? You're going to use paper to wrap, which is impossible, right? So I think you just have to make it right. And so what we do is that I continue to innovate. So one of the example is that we buy pine wood from New Zealand, FSC certified. You know what is that, right? Because it's a plant pine. And because the pine wood is actually a lot lighter, so we were actually supplying to people like Seagate, where they air freight all their hard disks and all that. And the pallet itself, mixed hardwood and pine wood, the difference can be as much as 20, 30 kilo. And where they do the air freight, that's a huge saving, because per kilo of the freight can be, $3 to $4, depending where they ship to. So net, so that's how we started, right? Being lean and green, using sustainable products and giving them the cost saving. And that's how we started. And we grew from word of mouth, yeah. And we were very specialized. We were pretty low profile then. We were very specialized doing for semicon, medtech. Those are the space that we are in, yeah. So that's how I get into the space. I know what, Esther gonna ask. So when you're in that space, right, Esther, every day what you're gonna hear? People talks about global warming, right? And people talks about food waste. People talk about packaging waste. So that when you're in the business, you're plugged in the system, I guess your mind will start thinking, so what does global warming really mean? And at 20 over years ago, it really doesn't have a lot of impact then, because you don't really see as what you see today. But what does it mean? So that get me thinking. So it's like, wow, if global warming is going to happen, because we keep talking about rising of the degree, what's going to happen to all the produce, right? So naturally, food security is going to be the next big topic. So that's what I see. Even when I was running Greenpack, then I thought, wow, so that is something. But in Singapore, pretty much we are not agriculture based. How do I start planting trees, planting vegetables? It's almost impossible. But I thought I still want to keep to my vision. So about 15 years ago, when I built my building for Greenpack, so I actually I wanted to have an edible garden, so that at least we start somewhere, and also send the message to all the staff, let's grow things together, let's eat together, cook together. The messaging is that, how do we together for food security and all that. And that's how I started having a small garden, and started planting some, with this idea, edible garden, so that the staff will come and, grow vegetables together and eat together. Isn't that wonderful? But guess what? 6 months later, nobody show up. Because it's very tough, right? And the office is actually in Jurong. Who is coming 30 minutes earlier? Or who is staying back 30 minutes later to do farming? Simply, it's just too hard, and it's just too hot, and it's really in the middle of nowhere. So that kept me start thinking again, what would be the easiest way to do it? Then I chanced upon a hydroponic system. So I bought the system, then we try, because someone tell me that is the easiest way. So that's how I started the R&D. That was like 14, 15 years ago, yeah.
Wow, she almost finished the whole story. I was thought I can go in and sit down already. Yeah, but I mean totally with you. And I should also tell my husband, I'm also imported. So yeah, but I think during that time, the early 2000, I think at that time it was not even called Global Compact Network Singapore, David. It was called Singapore Compact, and that was the history. And then at that time, when we look around SME, the only name is Greenpack that I came across that, because even for large cap like us in CDL, I got a lot of people who look at it. Green building, I mean, it's very expensive, right? So I think today is very different now, and also after actually Paris Agreement, that was one first changing point, and we all probably know that the hottest 11 years all took place in the last 11 years. So does that mean, very clear, that means temperature keep going up and going up and going up. And I'm sure the last few days you all read newspaper, right? Heat stress and sustainability is going to be national priority, music to my ears, in fact. So food security is very important, which is also subject to climate change, the threats of climate change and all. And as you look around, you can also see that we do have some hydroponics and all that. And what we believe in is everyone can farm anywhere, because we don't have the scale like your farm, but we want to encourage people who come to our academy to believe and also practice sustainability. And that is what we hope that we can also see. Many of you, please, you can get contact from my team here, who can actually, provide the hydroponics set and all. And if you look outside the partnership wall, it used to be just normal plant, ornamental plant, but we have actually changed it to edible green. So the whole partnership wall, all the almost 1,000 pots are all edible green. And the vegetable we don't sell, we actually give it to Dignity Kitchen and also to OH Home as well. So we can really combine doing good, going green together. And there's a micro farm at the back also. So talking about all this, okay, Susan, you are a very positive thinker. But let's face the challenge in Singapore. We grow less than 10% of, or we produce less than 10% of nutritious needs. What is your take about food security, and what do you think your farm can really help to, move the needles? And there are a lot of challenges. I always say that after I saw your factory, I was like, wow, she's not growing plants, she's manufacturing plants. So maybe you can tell us that what are the, the KPIs that and then you can't enter her farm, huh? It's high security, and then it's like, you have to wear like a lab clothes.
It's not exactly clean room, but it's control, biosecurity.
Okay, over to you to explain how AI can really help us grow the vegetable.
So maybe I continue the story, okay? So as we, I still wanted to continue, because we really don't have the know-how to how to, grow vegetable in scale at that point of time. But I just wanted to do something different. So I chanced upon a small hydroponic system. So we bought the system. We start growing them, right? After growing them for a while, we thought, hey, not bad, because, we thought, okay, maybe because what we believe in community engagement, so we start to donate to our backyard, the nearest, because I always believe, that's what I always say since day one, charity should start from home, right? You don't have to go very far. So it's 2 kilometers down the road, there's an MPS, we just send the vegetable down there and let them help themselves, right? And so we do that for a while, and then after that, one day, the advisor from the grassroots advisor sent someone to call me to his office, and then he said, so you've been donating this vegetable, but we were suspecting because a lot of people have been going there to look for vegetables, because they get fresh vegetable. So he says, why don't you teach them how to grow vegetable instead of donating them donating the vegetable? So he says, okay, fine. It's something new for us as well. So we need to deal with the community garden. So 60, 70, 80 years old people. So I have to write SOP. So we donated 2 systems. Subsequently, the school came, secondary school came. They says that, I heard you've been donating system. Why don't you donate to us? We can make it into science project, and then subsequently to the primary school. So I think when you keep doing it, again and again and again, I think you become better and better and better. Then I also need to write SOP, right? So that make sure that the 9, 10 years old students know how to do. And one day I just thought to myself, I think I know how to automate the process. And as I was looking at it, and this is my personal belief, number one, if you want to do food security, you must be able to feed the world. What does that mean? That means you must be able to scale. If in any business that you cannot scale, it's very hard. And let's face it, vegetable is a consumer product. It's not how sexy is your robot, I always say. What matters is that how much is it per head of lettuce? And how good is the quality of the head of lettuce? I think that's what people cares, right? So that was my number one that I'm looking at. I need to scale. So that with the scaling, I'm able to bring the cost down, because with the economy of scale. So that's why I think since day one, we have this very different perception that we have been very focused on bringing down the cost of the vegetable and give them a good quality of vegetable. And how we change the farming industry. Today, no farmers will do forward contract, meaning to say they will not commit 31st of March, I'm going to deliver 500 kilo. No farmers will commit, because they will not know what's going to happen 2 months' time. Because if the sun is warmer, the produce may ripe faster and things like that. They cannot commit. So that's why it generates a lot of waste. Because based on whatever they can grow, depending on that season, if it's a better season, you get more produce, the price come down. So the price is always fluctuating, right? So we wanted to do something that's why we adopt the manufacturing process, right? You control all the parameter, the environment, so hopefully you can produce a very consistent produce. But more to it is that you want to have a good nutritious produce, and also at a fixed pricing, and we want to cut down the food waste. Meaning to say, if you order 500 kilo, I'm going to give it to you on the 31st of March, 500 kilo, so that way you eliminate a lot of waste. Yeah. And so with this, it took us almost, I officially registered the company, go on the journey. It took us 12 years to where we are today. So it has been a long, long journey. Yeah. And also, it was a very, very, very difficult business, much, much more difficult than the packaging business, that I thought to myself, I think, I always tell people, I think I'm not smart enough. I can only do one thing at a time. So what I've decided, I actually exited the packaging business just to stay very focused on this. I guess in business, sometimes that's the thing that you need to do. You really need to stay very focused to scale the business. Yeah. And neither do I want to continue to milk Greenpack, which is a very good company. They are ready for internationalize, and I know that I'm not contributing. And it's not fair also to the employee, right? Because they've been working their life there, they've been with me for so many years. The company should take a different form. They should go internationalize. So that's why I decided to sell the company and stay full-time into this farming. To me, personally, I think it's a kind of legacy that I hope to leave behind. Trying to crack the code. That's why I need all of you to support, not only to support the local, but to contribute in a different way that as you can, because we need to build the ecosystem, right? And I always say, it's not about me coming in here, building the large scale to replace anyone, because we need a lot more, right? And you don't eat the same vegetable. There's the variety of vegetables, and everybody has a role to play. Right? We need to build the ecosystem. And we know, once you have the ecosystem, when the scale is there, the price will come down. Right? Then everybody will enjoy pesticide-free, nutritious vegetable.
Wow. Amazing, full of wisdom. And I think there are also a lot of challenges. I mean, it's not like building sector, but vegetable is perishable. You can't keep for after you produce it, and supply and demand is very important. As a businesswoman, I know you are very strong in managing all those supply and demand, and maybe you can share a little bit, how do you use technology, AI, to anticipate, demand, and then you produce accordingly. But by the way, I'm a follower, but it's always sold out. So you can produce more, definitely. Yeah, and the vegetable, the quality is really very good. It's almost perfect condition. Maybe you can also share with us that how can you really like perfect the, using AI or using whatever little secret that we all want to know, right? Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking maybe we should have this session in my farm. Then you can see better, how the thing's going. Well, I think, I will arrange with, with Esther, our host of you. You can see it for yourself, how we actually manage and control. Because coming from a supply chain background, because I'm actually using a supply chain approach. I'm sure many of you were familiar with MRP. So meaning to say, when I receive an order, I just key into the system, and I know whether I have enough capacity, when do I need to deliver, and then we will start to do planning, and then when do I plant them, because I already know precisely the different types of vegetable, their protocol, the exact number of days needed for this particular vegetable. Because we adopt manufacturing, so we control the lightings very precise. So that's why the harvesting is very precise as well, right? Not like the open farm, because it's very much depending on experience, depending on the weather and all that. So we know exactly when do we harvest, and then we have a schedule. We know exactly when we need to plant, because we have a fulfillment. And then during planting, how do we actually manage the plant? It's very hard to explain. Of course, we will use AI and all that to monitor. Imagine when you go into a farm of 23-meter high, that's not possible for you to do visual, right? To go and look at your vegetable, how it does and things like that. So we have to leverage on cameras that moving around. Even we have got about, we call a cage, 1,000 over cage inside a big chamber. We only use 8 cameras. That is a kind of innovation breakthrough. And I always say innovation breakthrough is because when you are hungry, then you innovate. You want to, because it's not possible. I have got probably 30 over 1,000 trays of vegetable inside. It's not possible for me to put 30,000 cameras just to look at everyone, right? So instead, we innovate. We only need 8 cameras to do that. So the cameras will take photo, and then we will know precisely at day 20, this is the height. Day 30, this is the height. And then we measure, and then we plot the chart. If anything that not according to the chart, it will send out as an email that this particular batch number will have issue and all that. So that's how we actually do the monitoring. But in short, is that we actually tighten all the control. We even mimic like the sunlight, so that we don't give shock to the plant. Because to me, not only growing vegetable, I want to produce nutritious vegetable, right? Good quality vegetable. So we try to mimic the sun as well. And also the technology that we have, in-house technology, we actually use 30% less energy as compared to the system out there. Yeah, it's all in-house, and very proud. I have a team of 6 digital, all the IT personnel, and everything is all built in-house. Because, when we start going out to sell the system, everyone that come into the farm, the first thing they ask, so who do you buy the technology from? Is it the Dutch or is it the Japanese? But we always tell them we are very proud, because this is actually a homegrown. And I want to tell you about my team as well. I have a very, very young team, including Steve at the back there, helping us to deliver the vegetable for today. So I have my Chief Digital Officer, very young, at 36 years old. He was a Singtel scholar, okay? Singtel scholar, and then he was headhunted by Grab Express. So he developed the Grab Express, and subsequently he actually developed, he was headhunted to ByteDance. I know someone from ByteDance, I saw. Yeah, so he was headhunted to ByteDance. So when I needed someone 6 years ago to develop this software, and we needed the talent, so we have identified him because he was a Singtel scholar. We know his background and all that. That is the kind of people that we need, very committed. And we actually went to him. And there's only one thing that I can sell. Let's do this for Singapore. And he came on board. Because, we cannot do share options. We cannot do anything else, right? So because of this, the young people are very committed. They are very passionate. And he says, but I'll just need to discuss with my wife. give me 1 day, because he go back and then he talked to the wife and they agreed. So he quit ByteDance and came on board. You know, so I think we have a lot of passionate Singaporean that want to make it happen. And about a few weeks ago, I actually asked him, we were traveling. So I says, you know, you've been in the company for a while, 6 years now. What is the proudest moment that you have? He said when he saw his mom eating the kailan that we have, because the mom has not been able to chew on the fibrous vegetable for a very, very long time, so she only eat the leaf. And now he saw her is eating the stem. She's eating the stem. So that actually gave him a lot of sense of pride. Yeah.
Wow, okay, so you talk about commitment and all that, and you have big vision, and very lucky to have really, really good team as well. So I think the next thing I want to talk about is the competence, because we all know that SME actually form like 99% of Singapore's businesses and hire 70% of manpower and contribute to GDP substantially. But we also have like Queen Bee program and trying to engage SME to learn about carbon reporting, carbon accounting. But it's so hard to crack because SME really faced with a lot of challenges like manpower issue and also funding, resources and all. So building up your industry, your business is really cool. I'm really glad that you attract such, talent and all. But in the long run, how do you see it as a challenge? The competence part. You may have commitment, you may have dream, but the real challenge is like, how do you sustain the business, the competence? And we can't just rely on AI alone, because you also, in the end of the day, is also the people. So what do you see and future-proof your business? Yeah.
So to me, right, any innovations probably give you ahead of 2 to 3 years of runway. So you need to continue to innovate. You need to continue to do new things. Then only that your competitor have to catch up with you. If you do nothing, you become complacent. I think in any business, I guess to me personally, I think one of the thing is compliance, standards compliance, like your ISO and all that. To me, is given. But what it means to the production team is that they have a protocol to follow in terms of processes and all that, so that you can do a continuous improvement with the proper guideline. Business is never easy. There's always something happen, right? But I think you also have to be very clear of your direction. I think as a leader, I think most of you as a leader here, number one thing is that you have to have a very clear vision and clearly communicate to your team. Because when I first started the business, every day you have new idea. Every day you go in and tell them something new, and they were like, what? They cannot cope. Right? And then sometimes when you look behind, no one behind, because everybody fell off. And that's where I learned, for the last 10 years of business, that you really need to communicate your vision. And even though you want to make some changes, you also have to make it very clear why are you making. And sometimes they may also convince you that, that may not be true, because sometimes we are also quite emotional, right? I thought this is a new idea, this is a new thing that we want to do, but going through with them, you have a proper, so if you have a proper framework, into the processes, that will actually help a lot as well. Firefighting, I think everybody have. Every business, there's always firefighting, right, over certain things. But I guess one of the things is that you really need to set priority. You need to understand what is operational and also what is strategic, right? So once you have a very clear strategic what you're going to do, and then operationally, I think it's easier for you to tackle. And then if you have a clear communications to the team, I think it make it a lot easier. And I love, I have a very young team, right? And they always say the Gen Z, the strawberries, that they work very differently. Yes, they work very differently. But if you give them the right motivations, they don't stop. They work at night. They work 24/7. Even in the midnight, they will just text, and they will just continue working. But that is their style of working. And then they also need a little bit of flexibility, and you need to give them the flexibility as well. Just like 10 years ago, I've decided, okay, let's do away with all the desktop. Everybody has a laptop so that they can bring work home to do. Doesn't matter if they need to go back earlier, but end of the day, it's deliverables. What they have delivered. And you can see the productivity went up because they work at night, they work during weekends and all that. These are all contributions that is coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, do it from the heart. There's no office hours. Okay, so you have really strong commitment. You have built up competence, but do you see competition? Because I mean, I go to supermarket all the time also, right? And there's a lot of vegetable. I was, which one is better than which one? Which one has, is free from chemicals and all that? And some are really, really quite affordable, those from Malaysia or imported. So do you see any competition? And also, is the ecosystem of all the big supermarket and all those, or, are they really supportive of, local produce, which is like hydroponics and all that? So you need the whole ecosystem to build a successful business.
Yeah. So I guess it's the same with all business. Usually the first thing I'll ask, why people want to buy from you? What is your value proposition that why would they want to buy from you? Because it's really, I cannot go out and tell you, oh, please support local, please buy local, right? And I can be, of course there's competition. In all business there's competition, whether friendly, not friendly, there's always competition. How do you then stand out yourself is through your value proposition. How do you value yourself? And what I can tell you is that today, if you go to the supermarket, later you have a look of a vegetable, the testament of the vegetable itself will tell you the differentiation. You look at the freshness, and also it's pesticide free. And I think in terms of price point, we are quite affordable as well. Yeah. And what we have been doing in terms of strategy, not having to tell you that please buy our vegetable, please buy our vegetable. But what we have been doing, we have been going around the store, we have been doing a lot of food tasting. Right? You need to let people taste the difference of the vegetable, the quality of the vegetable, for people to decide whether they want to buy your vegetable. Right? You cannot, I mean, in all business it's the same. You cannot just put your produce there or your products there, hopefully somebody will buy someday. Right? It will not work that way. So different products will have a different marketing strategy. So what we've been doing is that, and also pleased to share with all of you, next week, on the 17th of March, officially you can get our vegetable in Malaysia supermarket.
Wow, congratulations.
So it will be available in the village grocer, right? So when we first went to them, and they were like, are you sure? I said yes. When we showed them the vegetable, they were very excited because they wanted a high quality vegetable that is pesticide free. That Singapore has a very strong brand name that in terms of food safety. So they were also very excited, and they actually wanted the exclusivity with us. But yeah, and when we went to the government agency, the agriculture department in Malaysia, they all look at us and smile. Did you mean the other way around? Yeah, but at least we have made it. So we are launching it next week. Hopefully we will made it. And I think from the vegetable perspective, I think we are very confident because you can tell the difference. Yeah.
Wow, so proud of you. I will ask one more question. So in the audience, I'm sure you all have a lot of questions to ask Susan, right? So let me have the privilege to ask one more question. Yeah, thank you for flying the Singapore flag, back to Malaysia, because we have so used to buying imported vegetable and now you're exporting. So are you saying that you're growing enough to feed ourselves and also feed our neighboring countries? So are you going to feed more markets as well? Yeah.
Well, so like what I say is, when you build a business, you cannot depend on government, right? Funding and all that, because that's something that you don't do. And a lot of comment is that very hard to sell the vegetable in Singapore. The market is not there and all that, for sure. So that's why that is one of the diversification as well. Singapore, we only have got 5-6 million population. In Malaysia, you have got 5-6 times more. And our vegetables, there's a huge demand over there. We will see how the vegetable take off. And then, if the business is good enough, then probably we can build the second or third farm, to feed,
Wow, amazing. Well, time flies, 45 minutes gone already, So anyone who have questions? Citra, yes.
Just warming it up for everyone else. So I think, how did you choose the first vegetables that you wanted to grow, and has that changed? Have you changed the crop that you've, focused on?
Okay, thanks for that good questions. Food is about culture, right? So it's very important for you to understand what local eat. So that's why I say it's not what you can grow, it's really what people wants to eat. That's important. So we have chosen some basic vegetable like gailan, chai xing, komatsuna. These are the vegetable that is almost daily kind of household vegetable, because one of our ambition is that the vegetable that we grow, we want to make sure that it's also beneficial to all the middle income or the low income people that is able to access. So for example, partly why we don't grow kale, not that we cannot go, we can grow kale, but the demand is actually very, very small, right? And if you run a small farm, it's okay, because your production is not much, you can sell very small. But if you are going to build a large farm, so you need to pick the vegetables that what people wants to eat. So that is actually the type of vegetable that we pick. And of course, we also been working very closely. Even though our flagship farm was only ready last year, but during the whole R&D for the last 6-7 years, we've been selling our vegetable under white label. We are actually selling at the Media, the Japanese supermarkets. So to me, if I can sell the supermarket with the quality and the Japanese supermarket, they are paying 2 or 3 times more. If I sell the same vegetable 2 or 3 times cheaper in our NTUC, definitely will make it. Yeah. So that's why we've been very, focused on the quality of the products. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. Felipe Espinosa from the Latin American Chamber of Commerce. Talking about scalability, do you see building one of your farms outside Singapore, could be Malaysia, could be Latin America, or any other country?
Yes. So I think that is also what Esther is interested. So moving forward, we are actually selling our system as well. Okay, we are actually selling our system. So to me is that today a lot of people tell you, oh, they have AI farm, they are selling the system. But what we are doing is that we are building a flagship farm as a proof of concept, and we'll show you how the farm works, and then we will sell the system. And today we own 69 patents across 34 countries. That is because we will actually ready to license, sell the system. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So we are going to see Singapore brand vegetable in Latin America. Yeah. Any other questions that we may have? Lydia? Yeah. And then after that is Angela, right? Yeah. Okay.
Hello, thanks for the sharing. That was really great. So I've worked in the sustainable food system for a long time and seen a lot of vertical farms, a lot of hydroponic farms struggle. Yes. So how are you guys doing it differently? And my second question is on seeds. So with such a high yield, where do you get your seeds from? And how do we become more food resilient by producing our own seeds?
Okay, 2 parts to the questions. Number 1, I'll answer how different is our technology. I guess the difference is that since day one, we are already very focused on scaling the business. That we are actually building the farm to scale. Even though at the prototype, when we already see this is the scaling that I want to be, and we build a smaller system, and then once we are ready, we just stack it up, right? So from R&D to scaling is a very different approach. And also the technology that we adopt. That's why we have got so many patents. We actually move away. We actually have the privilege of learning from the Japanese system, the Chinese system, and all that, what they have done. One thing is like, the circulations of the water. That actually is very challenging. You have to keep pumping, keep treating the water and all that. So in our system, we do away with water circulation, right? But those are some trade secret. So we do very differently, very clean process. Seed, to be very honest, Singapore consumption is just a very, very small according to the, to the mega scale. And seed technology is very, very different. You need plant scientists and all that is very different. And I don't think Number one, Singapore, we don't have the expertise. Secondly, even if you attract the talent to come and do the seed here, but you don't have the market for them as well, right? And so what we've been doing, we've been working very closely with the seed supplier, and the Dutch, they have a very reliable, and we are very, very close to the master grower as well. We use relationship, right? And also, I think in times of crisis, probably we have a slightly deeper pocket that we can pay a little bit premium for the seed. But I think relationship is everything, right? So we've been working with this master grower that he knew, and he comes to Singapore every 3 months. And when the master grower tells you, I want to make sure that you're successful, right? I think that's the kind of partnership that you want to develop with your supplier. Yeah.
Wow. Angela? Yeah.
Yeah, my question is that we have in the supermarket like the organic and not organic. Are you actually pushing the phytosanitary entity to actually get a new category? Because you are the only one which is pesticide free. Like even organic is pesticide. Yeah. But we don't have that category yet, and in the Alimentus Codex, you are not part of it, which it's kind of like you're unique in a way.
So I think back to organic, non-organic. Number one, we cannot call our produce organic is because we don't use soy. Because organic, you need to have a soy base, and we don't use soy. But we are pesticide free, right? Like what you say. So we also don't want to position ourselves into the organic segment, because what does organic mean to a lot of people means expensive. So a lot of the, the lower income people are not able to access. So how we position ourselves is that, we have got imports from Malaysia and all that. So they are probably $8 to $10. Organic probably $16 to $18. We are actually right in the middle, in between. We give you a little bit premium over whatever we import because we are pesticide free. But however, we actually not at the other, that we are actually a lot more affordable. And we don't like our vegetable to be displayed at organic as well. But we have got a big logo, if you can see, they will tell you it's pesticide free. And I can also give you assurance, we're going to, if you follow our Instagram, we're going to follow up with a lot of papers and all that. Actually, the vegetable that we produce are a lot more nutritious and also better fiber. Sometimes organic, I'm not, but sometimes you buy organic food, they look a bit weird, right? The fruits and all that. They tell you that's organic. That's actually because they've been deprived of certain minerals. That's why they come out not perfect, a certain. And sometimes when you look at it too perfect, you're also worried because then you will have a lot of chemical and things like that, right? So there are people, when they go market, you buy vegetable, make sure there are some holes and things like that, that you know that there's no pesticide. Yeah, but there's no, but that's what I can say, right? That's how we actually position ourselves. We create a new market, hopefully that we are able to satisfy the middle class people, and also the younger generations are looking for healthy living so that they can have affordable. Like what I say, the better we scale, the price is going to come down even more because we are in a scale business, right? So if we are able to come down the price more, we can even benefit more people. Yeah.
Okay, wow, so many questions. I'm so sorry. I may not be able to let you go at 6:30, Yeah. So, so many hands. Wait. I think I see these 3 hands here, and plus this lady 4. So we tackle this side first, and then we come over here. Okay? Yeah. Christina, yeah. Okay, and then you pass to that 2 ladies. Maybe we can ask together, then Susan can answer. Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations for sticking to your dream and goal for so many years. I can definitely resonate, to your firefighting and, endurance. One question, it's very interesting, for you to walk this very long journey, and I wish you all the best for leapfrog to another next level. How do you overcome the high energy cost for running indoor farming?
Next. Yeah. Energy, yes.
Oh, hello, I'm Gladys from ESGpedia. Okay, so I think, Susan, I actually work with your team because you're a supplier to Sheng Siong, and we actually run a Sheng Siong Queen Bee program for carbon reporting. I wish I could say I was your customer, but unfortunately, I'm a very bad cook. So I can't cook kailan to save my life. Okay, so I was just wondering if you have any plans to supply to like F&B and catering for people who eat out, rather than beyond just supermarkets. Yeah.
Same question or similar?
Separate question. So I'm Yena from ESGpedia. This is more of a personal interest. So talking about food resilience in Singapore, right? I was thinking of, have you guys ever ventured into thinking about home hydroponic systems? Since you guys are the expert at building like vertical farming systems, have that ever been a consideration, or do you ever see it being scalable to combat Singapore's food resilience issue? Yeah.
Okay, can you pass to this lady on this side? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Wan Mei from Aegon Zender.
Oh, hi.
Hello, hi.
I haven't
Esther.
seen you for a while.
Yeah, nice to see you. Very inspiring. I was curious about your comment around how there's much more demand in Malaysia versus Singapore, which seems counterintuitive to me, from maybe a pricing standpoint. And then how did you manage to fund this for 12 years?
Sweat.
A lot of
Wow. The secret
Okay.
is out. Yes. Susan,
Yeah,
over to
maybe
you.
I answer the first question on energy. Actually, I mean, everybody know, for indoor farming, one of the critical area is really energy, and how do you manage energy. But one of the things that we have done is that we actually have our own proprietary lightings that actually consume 30% less as compared to the Netherlands lighting or the Japanese lighting and all that. But on top of that, we are actually doing a lot of monitoring. Like I says, our plant, we monitor them since young to on a daily basis. So we actually tie into the recipe. You know, the nutrients that you need when you're young and when you're old is very different, right? So we don't feed them across the board the same thing. We actually graduate, increase depending on the demand. So that way also we do a lot of monitoring to reduce a lot of energy. But of course, the rest of it, so we work very closely with our the building, the BMS system that we do all the full monitoring. But proudly say, and our lighting itself for the farm, for growing the vegetable, at least we are 30-40% much lower than compared to what outside is using. Yeah. So back to the easier one, also that, when you do a commercial or you do it for consumer, is very, very different scale, right? So I think in all business, even though there's a lot of opportunity, you need to know what is your core. You need to know what you're good at. And then you just want to continue to, do what you're good at. And good news for you, if you don't know how to cook, doesn't matter. We have lettuce you can eat raw. And, and the best thing that we have developed is the kailan. Later, you can take some sample back. What you can do, we have developed a special, not a special variety, but how we have grown it. You can actually just chop them, put some oil, put some sauce, microwave for 1 minute. And you can eat. And that is probably the only vegetable in the world that can microwave, which we have developed. Because we were very mindful, besides we want to export to Malaysia, we want to make sure that it's on Singapore Airlines. Right, because they need to heat up the food, to microwave the food and all that. So we want the vegetable to survive. Right, yeah. So you can try the vegetable, right? So back to your question, to you. Maybe I just give you this, this overview. In Singapore, all the premium products from Cameron Highlands are coming to Singapore because we pay premium dollars. So in Malaysia, a lot of the vegetable, because it's recorded, maybe it's not so nice to quote, but the vegetables they're getting, a lot are coming from Thailand. So they don't get, if you go to some of the store, look at the quality of the vegetables, they are not getting a lot of premium. So people and also they don't trust their own food safety, right? And on top of that, they are actually eating a lot of imported vegetables. So there are, people in KL and all that. So, there's this segment of the people, they eat imported from Italy, Australia, all the salad, even different vegetables, yeah. So when we go there, when we are able to compete with all the imported goods, we are a lot more, because we are a lot closer as well, right, in terms of logistic. And then even like Chai Sing, Jielan, all these are the daily thing. So they are buying some imported from Japan. Just to give you a good sense, they are paying something like 60 Singapore dollars per kilo for imported cai xing, komatsuna in Malaysia. So they are paying like ringgit about, $18 a pack of vegetables. Yeah. So that's why we want to go there to spread the market shares. Yeah. Yeah. So we are able to compete in that sense. Yeah.
Great. I think there's a question about supplying to, apart from supermarket, then what about F&B outlets and all that?
The Horeca, yes. We are in touch with some of them. You will see some interesting curation of menu out. I think they will do their own branding in big hotels and big restaurants. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think poor Susan, she has a long day. I can only take 2 more questions before wrap up. And the lady at the back, can you introduce yourself and just ask one more question?
Yeah, so we have been doing a lot of different engagement. I think one of the things that we have just done and gotten is, EcoVadis. Yeah, on the certifications, on a supply chain platform and all that. And we are proud to share that we've just gotten platinum. So we're actually at the top 1% globally across all industry. Yeah. So I think with this kind of certifications, the clean and green and all that certifications, people will learn the quality of the produce and the confidence of the produce that you have. But nothing beats trying it yourself, right? So yeah, you please take some sample, go back, try, and let me know what you think. Anything that we can improve on, because it's like in all business, whatever business you're in, continuous improvement is key. Right? And we are very new. Personally, I'm very new to the consumer market because I've always in the industrial. I work with the semicon, I work with the medtech and all that. It's a very, very different space. So I'm also learning something new every day, right? Yeah.
Wonderful. So, no more burning questions? Okay, great. So I will have the privilege to ask these questions. And we all know about the 20% of fibers target by 2035. With your scale, are we already there? Or 10% there already? And then we heard a lot of your big plan. So just to wrap up with, what is the vision in the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah.
Well, I think one of the vision that I have when I built this farm is not only for Singapore, but Singapore is the base. We want to fly Singapore flag. That's why I have this flagship farm. But moving forward is actually to build many more of this kind of farm across the world. Just as we thought that this farm probably is good in Scandinavian because the weather is very short. But to our surprise, we have a lot of inquiries are coming from this region. Even yesterday we have Philippines and all that. It's like, then people is thinking, the land is cheap. Why would people want to do this kind of farming? Actually, global warming has impacted a lot of countries. Food security is on everybody's agenda. If you read carefully, even places like Vietnam, because traditionally they are very much into agriculture, because of the global warming, they are actually re-look into the entire strategy, how to, the different types of crops with this new kind of weather. Like Australia, Sydney, they used to have drought, now they have flooding. So the world is actually changing. Average farmers are 67 years old in Philippines. What's going to happen in 10 years' time? For sure the next generation is not going to be farmer because they have educate them and make sure they become engineers, doctors, or lawyers. And yeah, so that's why automation key. And what we are doing also with our scale, we are 45 times better yield than a traditional farming. Meaning to say, I use 1 hectare, traditional farming need to use 45 hectares. Imagine when you need to run a 45 hectares, the amount of resources that you need, the amount of labor that you need is very, very different, right? And our farm is pretty much closed loop. So whatever water we use, the plant consume everything. And they are all drinking new water.
Yeah. Just now, if you are distracted by the water, maybe we should have to ask Susan to build a new system that you don't need water, right? It's, yeah, this is regulated by timer, so it's just running the water. So I think, I have heard part of this story before, but I'm still feeling very excited and very encouraged that food security is something that I think there are solutions. Yeah, and please join me to thank Susan for feeding all of us.
Thank you.